Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity of Kona. We're so glad you're here this morning. We would like to begin our service today by saying our affirmation for the month of September. Are we ready? Let's say it together. I am peace in the midst of all matters. I am grateful.
Good morning, and today's daily word is life. And the affirmation is today, I embrace the fullness and abundance of life. My spiritual path is not one of sacrifice and lack. I release any belief that I came into this human experience as punishment. This thought is inconsistent with Jesus' teaching. Jesus invites us to have life and have it abundantly, John 10:10, and reminds us that there is spiritual good in even the most challenging of conditions. What is mine to do is allow that spiritual life to express in every choice I make, every chance I take. There is no future in spirit, and I am a being of spirit. There is one presence and power in the universe, and I am blessed to be imbued with that divine essence. Today, I embrace my life fully and give thanks for the love in which I experience it all. Those who desire life and desire to see good days, let them turn away from evil and do good. Let them seek peace and pursue it. Peter 3:10-11. Today's daily word is life. And the affirmation is, let's say it together. Today I embrace the fullness and abundance of life.
And before I do our little prayer for protection and blessings, two things I wanted to announce. One is, three things. Our Lineage of Grace is going to start October, Tuesday evening, 5:30 to 6:30. And I have a sign-up sheet if you want a book, because I just am ordering them. And so if you wanted to get a book, and it's not going to be $17, I'll let you know it's going to be less because we're ordering a bunch of them. But it's wonderful. It's about 5 stories of unlikely women who changed eternity. So it's fabulous. Carla, thanks for that. And Larry, thank your mom. It's a wonderful book. And also I wanted to say that we have somebody who joined our board of directors as a volunteer. And his name is Steve Barnes. And so we're going to welcome him to volunteering. And wait, Steve. And we've already put him to work. So I wanted to ask you, right off the cuff, why did you want to become a board member?
Well, I think this is just a wonderful group of people that I'm so pleased to be a part of. And I thought that I might be of service and able to help this group possibly find a more permanent location. I'm not sure if that will come to pass, but I'm willing to give it my best effort. And I just wanted to show how grateful I was to be part of this. And it's one of the very few groups I've ever joined in my entire life. And so anyway, good to be with you, good to be of service, and I'm a happy guy.
Happy guy. Thank you so much. Isn't that wonderful? Wonderful. And also, this is the first Sunday of the month, so we have our volunteer of the month. And because we've been trying to hide it all morning, Carla. And Carla. So she knows I've been hiding from her for almost 2 weeks now. And so she texts me and she goes, who's the volunteer for the month? And I said, oh, the board decided to keep it a secret from now on. And then Diana and I have been distracting her from seeing the announcements all morning.
You took me back there.
Yeah, I said, go distract her. And then we had Patrick turn it off quick. Anyway, because Carla has taken, She's clueless. We want her to be clueless. But she does so much. And she has taken on doing the weekly emails, the website, and our Facebook. She and Larry both setting things up.
Yeah, please help me.
Anyway, so that's why we're honoring her. We did a couple years ago, but we're honoring her again because she does so much. You want to say anything?
Thank you, guys. I just enjoy this church and all the friends I've made here. You guys are family to me, so thank you.
Oh, I love making surprises happen because Steve didn't know either. We love it because we're just so loving and giving to each other, and we want to be sure that's what you feel when you come into this room. And with that in mind, let us visualize our sanctuary is a beautiful heart. And we have to have a really big heart because we have really big stuff happening in our world. And so let it see this heart. Fill it with your blessings. Fill it with love, with caring, compassion, understanding. And just let that be so full that you send it out into the world. And we allow that peace prevail on earth. With our hearts full. And allow that peace and gratitude to fill you right now. Breathing into our heart space. We see all that matters being taken care of, knowing that there is only one presence and one power. So as we hold this in our heart, if you know of anyone in need of prayer, including yourself, see them in our heart. And if you know of any circumstance, of which we know many, see everyone around the world in our heart, filled with faith, hope, security, and love. And if there's any particular circumstance in your life in need of prayer, let us hold them in our heart as we sing the Lord's Prayer. Now as we prepare for our time of meditation, I invite you to get comfortable where you are. Close your eyes if that feels right to you. And we begin our time of centering and prayer by just breathing. As we take that deep breath and we hold it for a moment, exhaling, we begin to relax. Breathing in, holding it for a moment, and exhaling. We set aside anything, any thoughts, any emotions that keep us from being here right now. And once more we breathe in. And relaxing our breath as we exhale. We rest in the consciousness of our heart. Today's daily word is about life. And I invite you to just know the truth that each moment we breathe new life into our being. And in each moment, we release blessings of life from our being. Breathing in and breathing out. We truly know that God is the source of all. And we just quiet our mind. We calm our emotions. And we allow ourselves to just be. Be your magnificent self right here and right now. And we allow ourselves in these moments to let Spirit guide us, direct us, teach us. And if there truly is anything that you are in need of, all we have to do is ask, seek, and knock, knowing that answered prayer is here for us right now. So at this time, if you are in need, as we go into a time of quiet prayer, allow yourself to ask from your heart and to receive into your heart that special blessing today, right now, in the silence. And now taking another deep breath. As we exhale, we know answered prayer is here for us right now. And so gratitude and appreciation, we say thank you, God. Amen.
So this month is all about prayer. What does prayer do? How do you pray? Prayer is simply talking to God. One of the main reasons Rev Deb came to Unity and stayed was because of Myrtle Fillmore and her prayer consciousness. Myrtle Fillmore is one of the co-founders of Unity. And this is what she said about prayer. Set aside regular periods every day for prayer. Use words of truth during your silence periods. As you change your thinking and bring it into line with truth principles, a transformation will take place in your consciousness. Your mind will become keen, awake, alert, and illumined, and your body temple will be filled with new life. You will be inspired with practical ideas that will enable you to succeed in a larger way. People often wrote to Mrs. Fillmore for prayer support, and she wrote back to everyone who wrote her. That is very inspirational to me because prayer is asking and receiving a change in connecting our head and our heart to our soul. In the first letter she ever wrote in response to someone, it said, "You ask why you have not yet come into the understanding that you seek. I will tell you, you are already in it. Be still and know the kingdom is within you." That is from her book, right? Her book, The Letters. Mm-hmm. I remember reading that in high school.
Healing letters.
Healing letters. And that's all the letters that were written to her, and she wrote responses back. The Buddha said, if you shift 1,000th of an inch, you will spring the lock between heaven and earth, and the gates of heaven will open up. Well, prayer can do that too. Unity now teaches a 5-step process, but I'm going to share with you a 3-step process. The one I learned first in the 80s from Stretton Smith. He's a successful Unity minister. He wrote it in the 4 T's for Prosperity books and shared it in all of his classes. He said, prayer is as simple as the word act, A-C-T. A stands for acknowledge. When you go into prayer, first acknowledge the presence of God. C stands for claim. Claim a positive outcome. Act as if it already exists, knowing that your faith can move mountains. Remember, I believe that saying, faith can move mountains, is saying that your faith can move any obstacles, big or small, from your path. Go and God will guide how it can be done. Sometimes we use a dynamite explosion to move that mountain. I'm going to make it through this. We roll up our sleeves and just dig in. Sometimes we chip it away. We take away a little part at a time. We may spend many of hours in prayer and meditation and saying affirmations to clear away the old ideas and beliefs. Other times we may decide to go around the mountain. No matter which way we choose, we ask for guidance and then we listen. We will be guided to the right and perfect solution always. We will always be guided to the right and perfect solution. The T in ACT stands for thanks. Give thanks in advance for the good that's already coming. Give thanks in advance for the right and perfect outcome to your prayer. It's like putting an exclamation point at the end of your prayer. Like amen is translated to be, it is done, and so it is. Paul's letter to the Thessalonians was written to reassure these people that Jesus would return. He said, be joyful, as always. Pray at all times. Be thankful in all circumstances. That's from the Good News, Theseus 5:14 through 17. In all Bibles, the words are the same. And New International Reader's Version says, always be joyful. Never stop praying. Give thanks no matter what happens. The Message Bible states, be cheerful no matter what. Pray all the time. Thank God no matter what happens. So in our daily lives, we can choose to live in a consciousness of allowing our hearts and minds to become more connected so we are filled with overflowing prayer. Now is when you put the ACT into practice. I invite you to sit in silence for 20 minutes. Put a nice sounding timer on. A simple affirmation is, turning within, I find peace. Turning within, I find peace. Can you say that with me? Turning within, I find peace. When you're finished with that 20 minutes, take out your journal and write what's in your heart and in your mind for a few minutes. It can be a time of free-flowing writing, just letting it all come out. That is taking action. Louise Hay passed away on Wednesday, August 30th in her sleep. One of her many affirmations that I say often is, all is well, everything is working for my highest good. I often go to her book, the Louise Hay's I Can Heal My Life, and whenever she has prayers and affirmations for every aspect of life, for relationships, for finances, and sometimes I'll pick one and I'll sit with just that affirmation of hers. On the third Sunday, my lesson will be about the different ways we pray and Unity's 5-step prayer process. Know this, Jesus taught that if we ask, we receive, that true prayer is always answered. The problem arises when we try to use our own will to force God-ordained universal laws to work. We start thinking that our words alone are enough to change things, that our prayers alone are enough to make us deserving. But it doesn't work that way. We cannot change anyone or any circumstance. We can pray for the best and highest good to manifest on our own. Makes me think of work last night, I have to tell you.
Great.
I was at work, and we have been really slow at work. So that makes the servers a little bit competitive for tables. And when I first, I worked the lunch shift, and my manager said, hey, if Craig doesn't come in by 5:45, I want you to take this big party outside. You'll be on it with another couple of girls. I was like, great. Parties are always great to do. They're fun, and and they're usually guaranteed tip in there and all of that good stuff. So I was really excited, and I'm doing my stuff, and at 5:30, Craig walks in the door. I was like, my first reaction, he's a very nice guy. I was like, hi. Oh. So then I had no tables. I was just helping everyone. It was kind of starting to get busy. It's our happy hour time, but I just didn't have any tables. My section was filled with other servers when I got back from my break. So I'm walking in circles, and I was starting to get really anxious. And I was thinking, wow, why don't I get that party? And I was feeling very angry, and I was feeling upset, and I'm not gonna have enough money, and I can't pay my bill, and I was spiraling. So I had to stop, and it always helps me. Larry was playing music there last night, so I was listening to his music, and every step I took, I was saying, I am prosperous. I am filled with God's good. I am going to have a fabulous night. And I just kept saying it with every step around as I smiled at people, as I helped out with other customers, and I just kept affirming. I ended up having a great night. I ended up working with another coworker. We had never done this before, but we shared a bunch of littler parties, and we shared it. We combined our tips all together and split it, and we ended up having a great, fun night. But if I would have tried to have it my way, like at first I wanted to go to my manager and say, I think I deserve the party. I've been here all day, and I thought I knew what was right. But I had to let go and trust. And even though I couldn't stop and sit in the silence, I did my own little prayer in action while I was walking around. And once I let go, the good happened. So that was a story off the top of my head with this that I could think of. I'd like to read to you also from The Quest. I think Rev Deb uses this a lot. I want to say my mom uses this a lot. A man we know was orphaned at an early age, had almost no education, and was never attended a religious service. We doubt he has ever uttered what most people would call a formal prayer. Yet this man lives a life of joy and thanksgiving. He loves and blesses all of the plants in the nursery he owns. He projects the same feeling of love to all his customers, to his friends, and to his family. You only have to be in his presence a few moments before you pick up his enthusiasm and appreciation for the wonder of life. You feel good just being around him. He is happy in his work, has many loyal friends, and no one can ever recall a time that he was not in good health. It is quite obvious how the general tenor of his life is a constant prayer, which is continuously being answered. We knew actually, another man. He routinely and dedicatedly spent 15 minutes each morning and each evening in a formal prayer. He prayed with a great passion for the healing of his lungs. For 30 minutes out of every 24 hours, he fervently affirmed healthy lungs, asking God to restore his diseased tissues to wholeness. But the other 23 and a half hours, what of them? They unfortunately were a different story. The man continued his lifelong habit of smoking against his physician's warnings, and contrary to his own common sense, he smoked until the day before he died, leaving this earthly plane a bitter man who cursed God for not answering his prayers. Yet perhaps his prayers were really answered, because his life prayer was the message he sent 23 and a half hours of every day. If this sounds harsh, just remember the idea of our entire lives being a prayer. What was the overall message of that man's life? That was his true prayer. I remember being in Sunday school and being taught the song, "Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers, so listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that every thought becomes a prayer." And I remember singing, I'm not going to sing it for you, but it has a tune, and I remember us singing that, and I remember thinking that. And when we think, I've been also reading a book called E Squared by Pamela Grout. She often speaks of unity in this book, but she says, I don't have it in front of me, but the amount of thoughts that we have in one day, 60,000, And if we really, a lot of them aren't always positive. So all of that's running through our mind. So I've been consciously, because it was all this week, that I was listening to this. Every time I was driving to work, I was listening to this audiobook. And so putting that into our mind, that our thoughts are our main thing. I came home from work. I'm going to put my daughter a little bit on the spot here. I came home and she's like, I drew this picture last night. I spent time drawing. And it was beautiful, a hand holding a rose. And around it were all positive affirmations. They were all positive quotes and thoughts about being her best self. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but it's exactly what we're talking about. Because she says, I want to live in this positive thinking. Because she's in a world of high school where a lot of friends aren't always positive. It's about what you wear and what you look like and who's friends with who. And she's like, I'm going to be my best self. Thank you, Kaya. It was beautiful. Runs in the family. And so in closing, we're always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. So even if we're not sitting in the silence, just like my last night walking, every step I took, I was saying a prayer. Everything I was saying, and I was holding that highest for everyone, and even for myself, that there's enough abundance to go around the restaurant for all of us, not just me, not just the person. And that was that I have to really hold that thought.
Excellent. Isn't that wonderful? She does it a lot faster than me, though.
I know, I gotta get it out.
She's good. But just to remember about prayer, that's why I'm here. Because Unity, Myrtle Fillmore said all these wonderful things, but her consciousness was so powerful. And my oldest son told me this week that one thing that he remembers almost every day now is in the Rose Garden. And it's Myrtle Fillmore's Rose Garden. And we spend many an hour there as well when he was in Youth of Unity. So I feel so blessed that my children, my grandchildren, all the things that they're learning in Unity, they're able to apply them to their life. What could be better? Really. So living your life in prayer, allowing those thoughts to just come and go. And this week has been a powerful prayer week, I'm sure, for all of us, with all that has happened in Houston and all the other floods around the world. There's a lot of prayer needed around this place. And, all the people, the good stories that we're hearing from people, helping people, and surviving. And yes, there's been a lot of tragedies, but everyone is reaching out. And that shows the resilience. And when you hear a woman say, she's the second time she's lost everything because Katrina had happened to her there. And she goes, I just thank God. Here's my family. We have nothing, but I know God is going to take care of us. What a powerful consciousness to have that. So that's what I looked and read about, was all the good news. And I told Sash about these two dads. And one was he was 5 hours away from Houston. And he told his brother, we're going. So one brother put his wife on a plane with their children because they'd been visiting. And the older brother said, I just can't sit here and not do anything. So they packed up their truck, took their boat, and they rescued like hundreds of people. And they had been in neighborhoods that were supposedly already cleared out. And there was one house where the grandpa had surgery. He couldn't move. And there was a 6-year-old granddaughter just sitting because the water rose quickly from below the couch to the top of the couch. And she was shivering, she was wet, and she was cold. And these two brothers, one was filming it actually, which was wonderful. And he put the grandma on his back, carried her to the boat, told the little girl, it's all going to be all right. I mean, strangers helping strangers. It is so powerful. And you would all do the same, which we've done. We've all had hurricanes and challenges, and we all band together. And to know that when you come here on Sundays, it's that consciousness when we gather that makes it more powerful. So our world is safe with us, leading those prayers. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And I feel just so blessed by my family, all the love and the good things that are happening. And so let us just take a moment to close our eyes, to breathe in that sacred space, your soul, where love resides, that consciousness within us that knows all things work together for good for those who love God. And we just say, thank you, God, for everything and all the good